Welcome to the Lightwalker's Path. Grow your spirit with Rosemary. In this show, Rosemary creates a safe place to nurture your inner light, ask questions, develop new insights, and find your soul's purpose. So please welcome the host of Lightwalker's Path, Grow Your Spirit with Rosemary DiTrolio.
Hi there, this is Rosemary. Welcome to the Lightwalker's Path on Bold Brave TV. We're streaming on many multiple platforms today, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and other places. I also found out that if you have Amazon Prime, you can also listen to the podcast on there. That was a nice discovery for me. So the Lightwalker's Path is a place to nurture your inner light and to find your soul's purpose. Feel free to call in or text with questions either for me or my guest. And there's a call-in number that is 866-451-1451 if you're brave enough to call in and ask a question. Today, my guest is Patty Scallon. She is from Lewis, Delaware. She has two grown children, and she has been in the alternative health field for about 20 years. And she's owned a holistic center for the past 10. She's passionate about helping people maintain physical and mental health. And she believes that it's our responsibility to know how to take care of our whole self. And she's a wonderful resource and guide for those of us that are on the healing path, which, my goodness, must be everybody, right? So I want to welcome in Patty to the show. Hi,
Hi,
Patty.
Rosemary.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me. This is
You're
delightful.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you on the show today, and I appreciate all the things that you do. And I wanted you to name your business because I know it's somewhere, but I want you to name the name of your business for me.
Synergistic health.
Okay,
Is that
Synergistic
what you mean?
Health.
Yes, synergistic
Wonderful.
health. Mhm.
Okay, I didn't want to get brain scrambled this early in the morning. Okay, so I have a couple of questions for you. I'm always interested how people get on their healing journey, both for their business or personally. So I want to know what your inspiration was when you stepped into what you do now.
Um, there's kind of levels to that. My first career actually was in banking, and then when I stopped to raise my children, my first job that I took was a part-time job with Boron, which was a homeopathic
Oh,
company,
I know
homeopathic remedies. So that
that.
started my interest in the alternative health, if you will. And then that journey just, I went along and had different certifications, different licensing, and then eventually had my center, which I had for 10 years. What I currently do, I got involved because my husband was really unwell. He
Mm-hmm.
had significant blood sugar issues, and he had significant joint discomfort and whatever. So, although I was in this field, I couldn't seem to get to the source of what his health challenge was, why he was experiencing that. So, for me, when I was introduced to what I do now, it gave him back his health, gave us back a life. And so, it was just exciting to be able to help other people do the same.
Beautiful. So do you also use these products for your own wellness that you also give to clients and your husband?
Absolutely. Once Dave had such quick results, I was able to bring it into my practice because I had a lot of people that had health challenges or a lot of pain, a lot of emotional issues, and I was able to help them now. So I did bring it into my practice. For me, um, my both my parents died of cancer. My dad was young, 44, and I thought,
Oh,
what, if I can get in front of that, I'm going to. And then there was the
mm-hmm.
anti-aging piece. I was in my mid 60s at the time, and I thought, man, if I can turn back my clock, why not? So
Yeah.
now in my 70s, you bet. I
Look
love
at
what
me.
we are. Yeah,
I
well,
would
you
never
know what?
guess. I would never guess your age.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's blessed both my husband and I in many, many ways, and all the people that I help along the way.
Beautiful. Yeah, I've looked at some of the things online that you have, and I thought it was quite interesting. You have stuff that goes topically, and then you have like I guess, supplements and things too, correct? Is that what you
Right.
would
Well,
tell
we
me?
have a cellular supplement, which is like a water. Okay. And
Okay.
so that is kind of like an inside out, and that impacts a lot of the pathways. We have the science behind it for
Yeah.
cardiovascular, hormone, immune, digestive, inflammation. And then, yes, topical. If you're experiencing discomfort, we have something that can change that in a heartbeat. So,
Mm,
yeah, yeah.
one,
And I mean,
one.
there's other things too, but they're the flagship ones.
Yeah, yeah. So when a client comes to you, do you do just questioning? Do they give you an issue? Do you do a test? How do you determine how to guide and help your clients in the way that they need?
Right. Well, because I have over 20 years experience now, I can ask the right questions, because for me, it's different than Western medicine. And listen, we need that. If we're in an
Oh,
accident or we have a crisis, we need that. However, unfortunately, today people want the easy way out. Let me take a pill and
right.
maintain my symptoms, not get to the source of what the issue is. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, I work on getting to the source of what they're experiencing, and then I can guide them in the direction. So, yes, I have products that will absolutely help them do that, but I also coach my customers on the pillars of health, because it's not just supplements. We need to take responsibility. What are we putting in our bodies? Are we moving it? Are we dealing with our stress? All those kind
Mm-hmm.
of things. So, again, like with you, it is mind and body. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, our mindset is, paramount to me. It's our mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, I really believe that. I know that the mindset can put the body out of balance even when you're doing all the right things. The
Yes,
cortisol could spike and, you could have the healthiest lifestyle, but if your brain isn't right with your thinking, that could kind of put you in a spiral. And I've seen it with clients as well. When they're under a lot of stress, how the body will react in a negative way, and then they'll get sick or they'll feel depleted, and it's simply because they have a belief system which is not supporting their wellness, you know?
absolutely. Well, we need to remember that, our brain is our greatest organ, right? Because what happens is what's going on in that brain controls our nervous system. All those
Yeah.
nerves go out to all the different organ systems. So if your brain is telling you, uh-oh, I have this problem with my lungs or whatever, that's going to send that to the lungs. So
Absolutely.
absolutely, mindset is number one.
Yes. So do you do any meditation or anything to help you with your mindset and keeping yourself grounded or centered?
Absolutely. I
Hmm.
start my morning with a meditation. I'm a big supporter of Mind Valley, so I'm always doing their
Oh,
courses. Yeah, I
hmm.
love what they have to offer. I'm an avid reader, so before I even open my phone or my computer or anything, I honestly spend a good hour doing that. Now, I know not everybody can do that, but what
Hmm.
I feel is if you give yourself even 10 minutes to get
Hmm.
your mindset in the right place and put positive things, like people that open
Hmm.
their phone and watch the news first thing,
Oh
they're
gosh,
starting
no.
their day on that negative vibe, and we're
Yeah.
all energy. So we take that in. Yeah,
Yes.
so absolutely. I think it's so important to start your day putting positive things into your mind.
It's so interesting because I had this conversation with a guest that's coming on in a few weeks. And I was saying that, back in the day, like 200 years ago, all we knew was our immediate environment. We did not know the news across the world in another state, and even 100 miles away, you would not be aware of. So now we're bombarded with information and things that give you the false sense of, if I'm looking at it, I can control this. And I think people get so invested in everything outside of themselves that they don't realize that you can only control around you, your mindset, what you're doing, how you're presenting yourself. And then, that's really what it is. And if you stress about everything that you can't control, you really can throw yourself in a tailspin. And I've seen it happen.
Right.
I've seen it happen to people.
Of course.
So,
Well, we're
yeah,
energy beings. So we literally take in the energy of anybody that's around us. I mean, how many times have you
yeah,
maybe been in a room with someone, you're having a conversation, and they're really not in a good space. And before you know it, your energy comes down. right?
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
so we have to learn how to protect ourselves and kind of
Hmm.
stay away from that negative thinking as much as possible. Doesn't mean
Absolutely.
things aren't going to happen in life. They do, but how do we respond?
Hmm. Absolutely. So one of the things that too I teach my healers, and I try to teach anyone that I can come across that is coming to me for something, is that you have a choice for how you respond. You have a choice for that boundary and the grounding and things you do to keep your energy and vibration higher. And if you are not doing that and you don't have a good protective energy field, your own energy field will drop. And it usually happens like when you're not feeling completely 100%, or when you're tired, or when you're in a situation you don't want to be in. Then it could drop your vibration. So I do a lot with raising vibration of my clients and people that I work with for that reason, because I agree with you 100%.
Well, I just yesterday was listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza, and
Oh,
he gave
fabulous.
four
Mhm.
morning affirmations. But the first two are, we are the creator of our reality, and our
Yes.
energy creates our reality,
Oh,
right?
absolutely, I
So
agree.
if we
Yeah, we're
start that morning in the wrong energy, our day's going to be a little sketchy.
Yeah, and a lot of it too is belief systems, self-talk, and early programming. That I one of the things I do, like when I teach my, let's say, second level Reiki people, we go back into childhood and we send
Yes,
energy healing back to that belief system from when you were a kid. Because everybody's got something. That's why we all came here. We came here to overcome something or to transform some energy that's in our soul system. And once you do, it's like very freeing, like, oh, that's where that came from. That's that belief. And you don't even realize when you're
right.
taking it in, you're so young.
Mhm.
So, I
I
remember my mother with cans of food, like she thought she was going to starve because she grew up during the Depression.
yeah.
So that's another weird thing that happens with me over buying food at times. I have to go back and say, no, we're fine. I can always go to the store. It's 5 miles away.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It's so true. And it does, it's like who's making the decisions, us or that inner child. And I think
Yeah.
that people don't understand with energy work, it's so powerful. It can change your life. They don't understand, they don't think that. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't realize that, but it's true. They can,
Yes.
when you get energy work done, you change those inner thoughts, you can cut cords from the past. There's so
Mm,
value there, and
yes.
it just opens your life up to a new experience.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of the times we don't even realize we're doing it because you're in a pattern that it felt familiar that you've always used. And sometimes it could be a toxic pattern or one
Mhm.
that just doesn't serve your highest good, but it feels familiar.
Right.
And I think that's why people continue because, change is uncomfortable and people don't always want to do something different that makes them feel funny or weird or whatever. But it's very freeing. It's a very freeing thing to do. Okay. Um, so I'm going to ask you if you had a mentor that kind of guided you early on that you're like, wow, that person really helped to change me. Was it a teacher? Was it a person in the healing field? What was it that, like, was there one person or a few people that you're like, wow, that taught me something?
Well, there were two books that changed my view, and
Hmm.
one was Many Lives, Many Masters with Brian
Hmm.
Weiss. That took my life from here to here. It was
That's a great book.
amazing
Yeah.
because that was, I was born and raised Catholic. We didn't think about past life. It's not that I didn't believe it or
Yeah.
accept it. I
Right.
didn't even
What?
think about it. And the other was Carolyn Mace,
Um,
Anatomy of the Spirit. And
okay.
that became, at the time, that became my Bible. I have
Yes.
read that many, many times, and it means something different every time you pick it up because you're
Yes.
now in a different place, right?
There's
So
layers.
those two books I would say were the ones that, I mean, there's so many, Eckhart Tolle, The
Oh, they're
New Earth,
amazing.
all of those.
Yeah.
But I'm going back to my very, very
Oh,
beginning of
yeah.
my journey here. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember reading a Wayne Dyer book back, like, I don't know, I must have been 17, 18 when I read his very first book. And it'll come to me later, the name of it, but I read it like when I was a kid. So that one impressed me. And also the one you had mentioned, Many Lives, Many Masters. I actually met Brian Weiss. I was at a conference in New York and went through like that group
Mhm.
experience, and I've been regressed probably 4 times by
Yes.
my master teacher and by other people. And it's amazing what your soul holds in it that you don't even know is there, but can drive your experiences in the here and the now. And that was pretty cool. Because
Yeah.
too, I was raised Catholic, but I always knew I was here before. Like I knew really young when I came. I was like 3 or 4, and I knew I was here before.
Yeah.
So,
I feel the same
hearing,
way. I know that I was a very old soul. Yeah. I saw Brian Weiss in person too, because once you read that,
uh,
you start
oh,
reading
you have
more.
to say them. Yes,
And it
yes,
was interesting. It was in Philadelphia. And when I went, the group experience was pretty amazing. But
yeah.
as I'm looking at him, I had never seen auras before.
Oh,
Okay. I'd never,
yes,
like I said, I wasn't in that world really.
yeah, yeah.
He was totally, totally encompassed in lavender light.
Oh,
And
that's beautiful.
I looked at the person next to me and I said, "Do you see that?"
See it?
You know what I mean? Like it was something that I had
Yeah,
never experienced.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah,
And then the past life regression, it's funny when I had my center was fairly large. I had a lot of practitioners, but I also had people that would come and do classes at my place. And there was a woman that wanted to do past life regression. And she said, but I'd like to do a session on you. And I said, oh, that you can try, but I can't imagine. I'm so much, sometimes I'm
yeah,
in the wrong
yeah.
side of the head. Do you know what I mean? And
Oh, hold that thought because we have a sponsor break, but I want to come back to that because it's so cool and I want to hear your experience with your past life regression and I'll share mine. Okay.
okay.
We'll be right back. This is the Lightwalker's Path. Stay with me and Patty Scallon. We'll be right back. Sorry.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. Rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back. This is the Lightwalker's Path, Grow Your Spirit with Rosemary, and my guest today, Patty Scallon, Synergistic Health from Lewis, Delaware. And we were talking about our experiences, and Patty was going to share her experience being regressed. And I'd love to hear what you went through because that's super cool.
Yeah, it was really interesting because, as I said, never expected to experience anything. So I was laying down on a massage table and she was walking me through this. And, in the beginning, because she would say, well, what does your hair look like? What are you wearing? And she would take me through each article of clothing. And you felt like you were making it up, to be
Right,
honest.
exactly.
You
Yes,
felt
yes,
like you were making it up. But
yeah,
then it got to a point where, there was a physical experience where I felt pressure on my chest area, kind of like there was a cinder block. and then another, and then another. And I said, you have to stop. And
Passage.
what it really showed me was I was alone by myself in a barn, because it was back when I rode
Mm.
horses, according to this. And I had a heart attack and I died by myself in this barn.
Oh
So
wow.
when this pressure happened, it was such a physical sensation that I couldn't deny what
Yeah.
just, there was no
Yeah.
way to deny it at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. I know with mine too, like I was regressed several years ago by a woman who helped people find lost children. So she was
Mhm.
known for that. And my regression was interesting because I was able to go back to a life that I needed some healing at. And it wasn't one I wanted to be in. I wanted like a fun one. I'm like, darn, it always brings you back to the area that you need to heal. And mine was I died in my 30s and I was really like I had a very unhappy life and I always regretted I never had children. And it's funny because in this lifetime I became a teacher. I love kids. So it's a very different experience that I chose for this lifetime. But it stayed with me. And then I've had a lot of spontaneous dreams where I saw other lives I was in. I remember like holding a baby. I was a Native American woman and I was on my knees just sobbing. And I woke up in the middle of the night sobbing and it felt so real. And I know that I lost my son, my child. And, I've had other ones that, showed me other pieces and parts of where I was. I was a priest. I mean, I had, very strange ones, but very different each time.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's
I
always a unique thing to learn.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I have experienced this several times also. But interesting enough, back with that very first one, she
Hmm.
asked me to focus on an issue that I felt I struggled with. And
Okay.
interesting enough, it was, I was always afraid to be by myself at night. Like I
Ah,
just really was. So
yeah,
when
yeah.
this that I was by myself, I died, and no one was there to help
In
me.
the dark.
When
Yes.
she was able to clear that out, it was really fascinating because a few months later, my husband said, "I've got to go on a business trip. I'll be away for 4 days. Will you be okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll be fine." And I was
Yeah.
I
Got
was
rid of fear.
very surprised. I was very
Yeah.
surprised. So, yeah, I'm a believer.
Yes. Yes. Excuse me. Let me just, I had to turn off my phone. Sorry about that. My phone just rang. My sister, who's from Delaware, she's ringing me in right now. Yeah, so yeah, it's amazing how a lot of our fears are held, and then when you go through that experience, because they're brought to light, they're gone. You know,
Mhm.
um, yeah, yeah, that's really neat. I know too, like when I'm doing a reading for someone and I'm reading their Akashic record field, and they're aware of something in their past of their soul, and it comes out in the reading, they lose that fear. I had one woman who drowned, and she was afraid of water and it's because she had drowned in a past life. And once she understood it, she kind
Right,
of started eliminating that fear because she's like, okay, that was then, it's not now.
right.
So yeah, yeah, very cool.
It's
Okay.
a fascinating phenomenon. It
Yeah,
really is.
yeah, yeah. And I tell people if they don't believe it, it's okay. You can go through it with the idea that this is an archetype of your soul that's trying to tell you something, and that's fine. I mean, I believe it personally because I've been through it and I understand it. But I say you don't really need to have that belief system in order to experience the healing from it. So it works. It works if you're open to it and you allow yourself to get in that relaxed state. It's like a daydream, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
yeah. Okay. Let's see. So we talked about that. Um, what would you find like was a hard challenge for you in your life? Do you have an area that you had struggled with that you have released or that you've learned from that you want to share?
Um, I wouldn't say personally. I have had things in my life, like my father passed when I was
Yeah.
15. It was pretty traumatic.
Oh, yeah.
I had a son that went through a 20-year alcoholic addiction and
Oh,
whatever. So I
yeah.
have been through a lot of life experiences that made me stronger in a way. And so
Mhm.
back when I had my practice, because I did both physical work, I was a massage therapist, but I was also a Reiki master and I did energy coaching. So I work with people with emotional issues too. And I think
Yes.
things, when we all hear this, things don't happen to you, they happen for you. And I
Yes.
believe that I am who I am today because of the fires that I have walked through in the past. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say fires because I remember going through a divorce when I just had my son, and he was like an infant, and I was going through a divorce. And I remember being like totally frozen in place and just feeling like I was walking through a fiery tunnel. But there was
Mhm.
light at the other side, and I just had to get there. And I remember that terrifying feeling of what do I do now? And that was one thing that it helped me in my life because I've worked with a lot of people that have gone through disturbing things, and there's
Sure.
other things as well, of course, we all go through that are really difficult parts of our journey. And I often think that a lot of us that are in the healing fields, it's like we come here very brave and we'll say, oh yeah, I'll do this and I'll do that, sure, give me this, give me that problem, and it's to overcome. And I do, like you, believe that we go through things to help us gain strength, understanding, and compassion. And
Right.
it's a rough road sometimes, for us that are healers and helpers, because
It
we
is.
really get it in
I,
space, don't we?
yeah, I was blessed with a really very strong mother, a very
Hmm.
kind mother. But I'm saying, she was 41 when she was told her husband was going to die. She had
Oh,
seven, she had seven children,
oh,
you know, and
God.
it was it we a lot of us were still in grade school, you know what I mean, when we were told this. So I watched her through that journey, and she was so strong. I don't ever remember her crying in front of us, or woe is me statements like why me, none of that. The only
Wow.
time I saw tears in her eyes is when he actually passed. She came through the door and she said, well, he's gone, he's at peace,
Oh,
and tears went down her face, but that was the only time.
oh,
So she kind of taught us that life is with the living.
yes. My father's saying, that was his saying, life is for the
Mhm.
living.
Yes,
Wow.
and she taught us that. So as we walked through life, we were just, I think, stronger than a lot because we had her example.
Wow.
Yeah,
She must have been an incredible woman. I can't
she was.
even imagine, going through what she went through and then raising all the kids. Did she
Hmm.
ever remarry, or did she stay single while you
She
were
never
young?
remarried. No, she never remarried.
Wow. Oh my
He
gosh.
was
Yeah.
he was actually her grade school boyfriend, and
Oh,
she said in eighth grade, "I'm going to marry Win Fisher," and she did.
oh,
You know,
oh, that's
So
sweet.
yeah. I mean, I had always hoped she'd meet someone. She was still a young woman.
Yes.
She was
Yes.
43 when he actually passed. But no, that wasn't to be her journey. But she lived a very full life, seven kids, like 30 grandchildren and more great grandchildren, and her life was full. She
That's
traveled.
beautiful. Yeah, that's great that she didn't let anything stop her. That's pretty incredible. Yeah,
Mm.
that sounds like I need a book for that. That's pretty neat. Is she
Well,
still alive? Is your mom still living?
no, no, she's
Oh,
not. She'd be over 100 now. No, what it's interesting you say that, because I always thought that I should have gotten her on Oprah, her and her girlfriends. She had a group of girlfriends that started in grade school. And
uh-huh.
clearly, all the way up into their 80s, they had a luncheon once a month, every single month for 70 years.
Oh,
And
oh my
she said,
God.
none of us needed psychiatrists because we had each other. And she
Yeah.
said they were people that were not from great money. We had people that would show up in limousines. We had people that were nurses and working women. So no, there was no judgment around their
What you
background, if you will. They were
Yeah,
just friends since they were six.
I
And
love that.
that should have been a book for sure.
That's a great, but it probably is. I think I'm watching some of these shows with, women power and stuff. Like that's awesome What
Yeah.
a great testament to female power and for how we help each other, how we help our friends, and how we're there for each other. That's beautiful. Yeah, that would have
Yeah.
been a very good show, right?
I know, I know. I always thought of it and I just didn't move on it. Life gets
Yeah,
busy and you don't move on it. But
yeah,
I really thought it was pretty amazing, that they
sure,
still
sure.
got together. Hmm.
That would also be a good article for like some women magazine. It's like the power of friendship, and how we all help each other. That's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I should. It's gonna get me thinking there.
I'm gonna get you thinking. Yeah, and then you could send it to me and I'll look at it and send you my my
Okay.
writing. Okay. At this point in life, do you consider yourself an introvert, an extrovert, or both?
Um, I am an extrovert, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm very comfortable being by myself and I need that time. So I would say both. Back in my practice, I used to do a thing that was called energy profiling. Two of them were uh, extroverts, two of them were introverts. My two, I have an extrovert on the top and an introvert underneath. So I have both parts in me,
I think.
but definitely more of an extrovert. And, people would say I'm an extrovert. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely both, but I was a very introverted till the age of 23 when I decided to become a teacher, and you have to get over being shy because I was
Yes.
very, very quiet. And now I use both. My father was very extroverted and loved people and very joyful. So I take that from my father, and I do also need quiet time and downtime. So, oh,
Yes.
we're coming up on another sponsor break. It's
Okay.
10:30. So please stay with us. This is my guest, Patty Scallon. This is the Lightwalker's Path, and we'll be right back in two shakes of a lamb's tail. See ya.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Hello there. This is Rosemary, the Lightwalker's Path on Bold Brave TV, and my guest, Patty Scallon, who is from Synergistic Health Connection. So I would like to know what you do for fun, Patty. What do you do to kind of let loose a little bit?
Well, we live at the beach.
Oh,
So,
beach.
we kayak, we boat, we fish, we bike, and we go to the beach. We drive onto the beach with a truck. So it's a lot of fun down here. There's live music all the time. My introvert side would say I love to read. So
Uh-huh.
they're the two sides there. Yeah,
You read
I'm
at the
all
beach.
about fun.
Yes, yes, that's beautiful. Yeah, I love to garden and I write books and I just love being outdoors, I like hiking around and I love mountains. The one thing I don't like about Delaware is there's a lot of flat areas until you get closer to like Maryland. But my
Yes.
sister's in Delaware, and it's like really flat, but it's nice, and love the beach. Love the beach.
Yeah.
That's always fun. Okay. Is there anything that you're thinking of that you want to do to expand your business, or is there any different direction you're thinking of at this point, or are you status quo and you just kind of are happy with what's going on now?
Well, I mean, my business is my passion. So, I mean, I'm staying where I am. I am
Hmm.
now moving more into social media. I have a YouTube channel. Would love
Oh,
people to
cool.
jump on
Yeah.
there. It's relatively new, but
Okay.
I don't talk products on there. I talk health tips. I'm trying to educate people
That.
on what they need to do to become healthier. I
I love.
also offer a 30-minute, no obligation whatsoever, just conversation, like what's going on in your life and
Hmm.
what I might offer to help you, even if it's just guidance. That's
Right.
on my website, which is pattyscallon.com. I make things pretty easy. So you can schedule
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
on, jump on my calendar, and we can have a conversation. And I'm not a high pressure person because to me it's just about helping people understand where they are, what they can do to move that forward. Yeah.
I love that. That's great. I also offer a discovery session because sometimes when people go to my website, they're like, I'm thinking I want this service, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So I do that. And I have tonight, I'm actually doing an in person and partial Zoom angel communication workshop in my office. So I'm excited again to do that. I've been doing that course since like 1995, I think. So
Yeah.
that's always fun to teach people how to connect with the divine realm. So
Yeah,
that's
and
really cool.
again, people are skeptical about that, and I understand that. When
Yeah,
I
yeah.
again back to my center, I had never engaged in any of that, but I had people coming in, channelers and mediums and all this, and this was a really new experience for me.
Oh,
You
yes, yes, yes.
but it was interesting. It was one of the angel groups. I was there, and you were able to ask a question. I don't know if you do that, but I was able
Mhm,
to ask the angels, and I asked
mhm.
them about a direction for my center, and the
Right.
channel got very quiet, and she said, "You'll be closing the center by the end of the year," and I was like, "What?" Like
And
I
you
was
did,
shocked, but it turned
yeah.
out a month later, we bought a home at the beach, and by September, we had moved. So
Oh,
they were spot
yes,
on. I didn't
they were
believe it,
spot
but there
on.
you have it.
Yes, yes, I love that. Yeah, I've had great experiences channeling for my clients and also for myself. I actually channeled for myself for about 3 years before I told anybody what I was doing, and I wanted to be very good at it. And then I just said, make it really. I told the God and angels, I said, make it really like super clear to me if you want me to take the next step. So one day I was in a chiropractor's office and I had just made, business cards thinking that I would start letting people know. And the lady goes, "When the student is ready, the teacher appears." I'm like, I'm looking around. I was the only person in the office. So I gave her my card and then she got excited and she said, "I want to book my whole family for a workshop with you." And that really, really was amazing because that kind of, brought me people in the very beginning when I was new at it. But I had weird stuff like the whole time I was working in my office, getting it set up, I'd have these strange coincidences. Like I painted clouds on the walls, right? And I was at a store and I looked down and hidden there was these mugs and they had clouds on them and it was marked down to like $5. So I bought them. But I had these strange things like anything I needed would show up. I had a woman write a big article about me that took my workshop, and I didn't ask her. She just did it for free. It was like a page and a half, and it brought me a lot of people when I was really, starting my business. So a lot of that is like I know it's God send, the God winks that happen when you're
Absolutely.
on
And
your path.
I think that like you said, they're God winks, but some people kind of don't believe in it, but
That's
like, why
okay.
aren't they helping me? Well, here's the truth. You asked, right?
Yeah,
That's the difference.
yeah,
You have to ask. They're all around us,
they
but
are.
we're not there to interfere. So unless you
That,
specifically say, I need help with this, or,
that's right.
answers,
Permission.
we have to ask before
Yeah.
because they're not there to interfere. They're there to guide us.
And it's permission too. It's all permission based, like you're saying. And the same goes where I will not read a person on without permission. It's like even if my I want to find out, oh, how's so and so doing? I will not do it because it's going into their private business and it's free will. So unless someone specifically asks me and hires me to do that skill, I don't channel for them. I don't get in their business because it's like going in someone's mail or, it's just not
Sure.
right. But
Sure.
it's cool, and I think a lot of it is we resonate with those people that are ready for us. So if someone is not ready to do a service that I offered, they're not going to show up, but my people will. And it's always been that way. And I always think when you get the people that resonate with what you're doing, those are the ones that will come to you, and those are supposed to be.
Sure.
That's the way that works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think, like you said, when people fall into that familiar because they're almost afraid of change, and it just might take another little nudge before they're
Yeah.
willing. And that's with me with the health field too. They kind of ignore signs that, oh, maybe there is a health challenge here, but if I
Yeah.
ignore it, it'll go away.
Go
Because
away.
they're afraid of change, of what they might have to do differently in a day's 24 hours.
That's right.
But eventually, I just ask people, don't wait for a crisis, don't wait for a
Yeah.
crisis. Hmm.
Try to get there, try to be proactive ahead of time. And it's rough because I know some people need that pain in order to make a change. But
Yeah,
me personally, I don't want to wait for the pain to make a change. I try
no,
to work before that happens because no one likes that, right?
you bet, you bet.
Oh my goodness. So if you could ask your angel any question, what would it be for you?
Oh, oh my. I guess it would be, what is the next right move for me? And again, not in what I'm going to do, but how to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is the next step to be able to reach the people that need me? I mean, what I have is truly life changing. I have
Mm-hmm.
seen thousands of lives change, and I mean, very serious things turn around. So my goal is to attract those people that need my help. And so I would ask an angel for that type of guidance. Yeah.
Yeah. So I will tell you what I'm getting if you want to listen, if you want to hear
Yeah.
it. Okay. So first thing, as soon as you said that, I saw that you were in a group speaking. So I don't know if you've done speaking like in a group, like a location where you can be a guest speaker and present what you do. So that would be one avenue for you. I was seeing Instagram, but not as a huge thing, but I was seeing like it go by real quick. So that might be another avenue for you. And the other thing is writing short things that is not actually a big book, but just a guidebook to these are first steps for healing. And it could be maybe 20 pages, and it might be a giveaway at an event when you're talking or a vendor event. That's what I'm seeing for you as the next like right steps. But I do believe a lot of it is finding those people. So chiropractors are great for being open-minded for that kind of information. Libraries, healing events, and healing venues. Those are also really great to be a speaker or a vendor at. But I love speaking at those events too because you
Yes.
get a different experience than if you're just vending. Because vending, you're just like you're there vending,
Absolutely.
and it's hard to get that. But speaking engagements are really powerful. So that would
Well,
be what
thank
I'm
you
saying
for
for you.
that. And I love to teach,
Oh,
so yeah,
hmm
so that fits in really well for me. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I think also for you, pair share with another business that's similar but different. So, someone that's maybe doing, I don't know, like you're doing some products and things, but maybe somebody that's doing simply energy work. So maybe drawing some of the people that you've had in your past that you could pair and share with as a speaking event. So yeah, that might be your next step. I mean, we're always looking, right? We're always looking for what do I do next? What do I do next, right?
Well,
Yeah,
because it's always about, helping other people. See,
yeah,
for me, at my age, it's not about the money. It's about, we want to give back, right?
reaching.
The older we
Yes,
get, we realize that we want to give back. So how many lives can I touch before I decide to leave this earth, right?
that's
And so
right.
that's what it's about. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why I wanted to be on a podcast. I've been a guest on a lot of people's podcasts, but I think the more that you can broaden the scope of who is listening, the better that you can reach more people that may benefit from whatever you do, you know. And I'm like hoping people will go to my website and your website and kind of like just poke around and maybe
Right.
see if there's something that we offer that can help them. You know, we have lots of different offerings. Okay. Do you have a certain offering on your website that you have you say discovery session? Is there something else you want to highlight that someone could go to and find there?
Well, they won't find it there, but we do have 10% off of things right now. So
Oh, good.
that can be pretty significant. They won't find it on there. They would have to um, connect with me to put the order in so I could give them that discount code because it's not
Okay,
something that's on there.
beautiful.
And I may be able to do that, but see, it's not always offered. So that's why it's not listed there.
Okay,
But
so you're give me your email for people to do that, and then we're going to another break. So what is your email again?
it's Patty at pattyscallon.com.
Patty at
So
patty.com.
it's
And it's spelled out. Yeah.
Yeah, PATTI at PATTISCALLAN.com. And as I
Perfect.
said, my website is just pattyscallon.com. I
Easy.
try and make it easy for people.
That was easy. Okay, we're
And so
coming
is my
right back.
YouTube.
That's your YouTube. I'll have to look at your YouTube too. All right, so we'll be right back. This is the Bold Brave TV, and this is the Lightwalker's Path, and we're going to a quick sponsor break. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant. Like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back. This is the Lightwalker's Path, Grow Your Spirit with Rosemary, and my guest, Patty Scallon. And before we go on, I just wanted to quickly mention something. Patty said that on her website, there is a 10% code for product, but you have to move on it quick because it's not always going on. So I told Patty I want to buy some of that nice Renew Gel for my skin. And I encourage you to look at her website, excuse me, pattyscallon.com.
PattyScallon.com. Mm-hmm.
pattyscallon.com, and look at her products while you're there. And for me, I would love you to look at workshops, sessions, books, courses, self-study offerings on rosemaryd.com. And you can see what I offer and also my discovery session for those people that are looking around and saying, I don't know what this is, but I'm interested in it. And also, if you are interested and you're listening today, I am doing an angel communication class tonight. And I probably could fit 1 or 2 more Zoom guests in. And you can find the pricing and the payment on my website, rosemaryd.com. Okay. So, um, what kind of people do you resonate with? Who are your people? Who are your tribe, Patty?
My tribe are high energy people. Um, my 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 life value is joy, kindness, and integrity. So they're the
Love.
three people. Yeah, like I did a workshop on find your life value, and they were mine. Joy,
Yeah.
kindness. I think that we've lost that in today's world.
Oh, I.
And my
Yes.
mother was the one who, kindness was above everything, and then obviously integrity. I love people that are generous, and it doesn't have to be with money, but maybe
Hmm.
with their time and helping other people. So that's my tribe.
I love that. I love, and it's funny. I actually have very similar words because you mentioned integrity, kindness, and joy, and that's kind of my mindset. So in the morning, I say, "Let me be a blessing of channeling light to other people," and then at
Yes,
night, I review my day and say, God, if I've done anything to harm anyone's feelings or whatever, please help me and clear this out and help me do the right thing, whatever. But I've always done that, and it's really good because with me, when my clients meet me, I want them to feel that they're loved and cared for tenderly. That's for kind of where my brain is.
you bet,
that's,
you bet.
that's that
And
Libra
they
in.
feel it. They feel it.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
genuine. They can feel that you care.
yes, yes. And I always say people don't care what you know until they know how much you care,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah. Okay. Perfect clients for you. Mine would be people that are open minded and are ready for a new experience. What's yours?
People that are ready to invest the time and money in taking better care of themselves.
Love that. Okay. And I know that you do lots of physical activity, which is wonderful. And were you always like that when you were younger too? Did you love like moving around and?
I was not as active, and honestly, moving to the beach changed everything for us. We
Mhm.
had never driven on the beach. We never kayaked. I mean, we were on boats here and there, but we never owned them. So, and
Mhm.
then we bought electric bikes while we're down here. So these are things that, I mean, yes, I was always active, but not avid runner or avid
Yeah.
extra. No,
Yeah.
but I've always kind of taken care of myself. I've been really pretty good at that. I make sure I
Yeah.
move my body every day. I'm conscious of what I put in my body. Am I 100%? No, we can't be 100%,
Uh,
but I do pretty well. Yeah.
yeah. So I was when I went to Italy recently, I walked 52 miles in, I think it was 11 days. And we
Yeah.
were doing like huge walks and I felt great, and it was so nice to be able to do that and not be exhausted. And I think that's the power of taking care of yourself when you're younger. Because if you don't do it like in your 40s, 50s, when you reach our age, you're going to really have trouble like with knees and body and issues if you don't do what's right for your body. So it's
Right.
never too early. Hmm.
No, well, it's interesting because actually yesterday I shot a video. It'll be on my YouTube probably Thursday. Um, that being in my 70s, taking care of myself is a priority. But do I
Hmm.
wish I had been more conscious of this in my 40s? Absolutely. When you're
Yeah.
in your 40s, that's when you begin to experience different things. And the first thing you go to are medications. Well,
Yeah.
you didn't need to do that. So my goal still to today is to get people off of as many medications as possible, if not all of them. It depends on why they're taking it. Like when
Right.
somebody says, "Oh, my blood pressure is stable. I'm taking blood pressure medicine." Well, how long you taking that? "Oh, I've been on it for like 8 years." I said, "Oh, how's that working out? Did it cure your blood pressure issues? No, it's just
Yeah.
maintaining symptoms." So yeah, I wish that I could encourage younger people to get on board because I had to play catch up. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
had to do more. I wish I had done more to build muscle, for instance, right? Where I wish, I definitely walked and did certain things, but I didn't do enough weight bearing. So now I
Yeah.
have to do that. But had I been doing it all along? So that's why, like I said, I do try and guide people in the direction. But yeah,
Right.
sooner
Right.
than
Yeah, and I think too, you don't realize like once you go through the changes, like in my age as well, is that the body just does different things. You're like, where did this extra weight come from? Where did, so, the
Yes.
body just kind of yells at you and reminds you of all the things that you kind of let slide a little bit. So yeah. Okay, so we're coming up on the last like minute or two of the show. So I want to thank you so much for appearing today, being my awesome guest, Patty, and wish you much success and love and light and joy in what you do. And wish you well. This is the Lightwalker's Path on Bold Brave TV. So please check my workshop sessions, books, courses on rosemaryd.com and visit Patty's website as well and get that 10% off. Have a beautiful and blessed
All right.
day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rosemary. This was fun.
Good, good. Thank you.
This has been the Lightwalker's Path Grow Your Spirit with Rosemary. Tune in each week at 10 a.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network and delve into your soul's purpose through enlightening discussions, wisdom, and inspirational conversations.